Welcome to a live taping. Is it a taping? I guess if you watch it later, it'll be a taping, but right now it's live. Okay, let me rewind that. Welcome to the Academy Sports Show right here, coming from you, however you're watching, whether you're on me and Joel's live feed on Facebook or whether you're watching this on the YouTube. We appreciate you most greatly. Make sure you like, comment, follow everything the Academy Sports Show. Make sure you go on and subscribe, and most importantly, make sure you trigger that bell. That way you get a notification every time we go live. Like I said, it might be Monday. It might be Tuesday. It might be 7. It might be 7:30. That's why we say hit that bell so that way you know when we are live. That way you, the most important part of the show, comes into the stream. So as you fellowship your way into the live stream, make sure you say hello, as Joel says. Make sure you let us know you're in here so that way we can shout you out. If you got a hot take, let us know. If you got a topic, let us know. And if you're feeling a little saucy about saying anything that we said, we have the capability to share a link to get this a 3-man show. So let us know. Hopefully everybody had a great weekend. I'm your host, Andre Douglas, and next to me is your host, Joel Williams.
What's good, everybody? Man, you know what? I forgot because things have been so crazy. We did have a request to join the show. And we got to get him in for our next show. So Derek wants to jump in. He hit me up, so we got to make sure I get him in. I just got to shoot him a message, let him know that things just been crazy, and I totally forgot. It slipped my mind, so I apologize if you're listening. But welcome to the show, everybody. Great show ahead tonight. A lot to talk about. We got a lot to cover, a lot to get into. Man, listen, we're gonna talk WNBA. The draft is coming. The WNBA draft is coming. Are you gonna watch? Are you going to watch the WNBA draft after that wonderful NCAA tournament where we saw the women's tournament out everything the men's tournament, the national champion South Carolina Gamecocks defeated the Iowa Hawkeyes? We're going to talk NCAA women's championship, but we're also going to talk GOAT talk. So the debate that's been going on is Caitlin Clark the GOAT, the greatest ever to play the women's game. Is she the GOAT? We're going to discuss it. What up, Stu? What up, Doe? So we got that. Plus, Bronny. First, there was transfer rumors. He hit the portal. Now, he has now put his name into the NBA draft. But there's a caveat. As you know, NCAA basketball, you can retain your amateur status and get evaluated and then make a decision of whether or not you actually want to fully commit or stay behind. So we'll give our thoughts on that. And there was a trade in the NFL. Stephon Diggs to the Houston Texans. There is a lot going on in the sports world, and we're going to cover it tonight on the Academy Sports Show. We are live.
We are live. So let's go ahead and get it. Let's do that thing that we do. First one's up is trivia night. So if you have a trivia question, make sure you send it to either me or Joel. It can be sponsored here on the show. Trivia night goes as follows. The hosts, me and Joe, ask each other a trivia question, and you, the field, may undercut or steal if you put the correct answer in the chat before we say it. But the caveat is whatever answer you put in the chat is the answer for everybody. So make sure you're right. Please do not Google off the top of the dome. No Twitter fingers. We are up 6-5. Let's keep this momentum going.
Keep it going. All right.
Keep this momentum going. Ooh. Stay off the Googles. Everybody put your hands up, like T-Pain said. All right, sir. Are you ready?
Yeah, I'm ready.
All right. Let me find where I put it. So this is a NBA question.
NBA question. All right, I have a chance.
NBA question.
Not WNBA, but regular NBA.
Regular NBA question.
Because, Stu be ready for the WNBA questions.
You're going to have to put these in fast. Okay?
Okay.
Here we go.
I got to put them in, or I got to say it?
You got to say them fast.
All right.
Say them fast. So, it is now towards the end of the season. Only a couple games left.
Okay.
As of right now, the MVP race is looking like it's coming down to SGA, Luka, or Joker.
SGA, Luka, or Joker. All right.
Joker already has 2 MVPs. He'll be in rare air if he wins his third. Joker's at 2. The number 1 guy with the most MVPs is Kareem Abdul-Jabbar with 6. I need 5 more guys that have more than 2 regular season NBA MVPs.
That have more than 2. Bron, more than 2. Bron, Shaq, Jordan, more than 2. So 2 or more, or 3 or more.
So 2, no 2, 3
okay.
or more.
Bron, Jordan. Nash only has 2. Curry. Giannis has 2. Jordan. Oh gosh. Man. I'm gonna go Kobe and Magic. I feel like Kobe's wrong though.
Nobody's answering, so you got time. I got Bron, Curry, Jordan, Kobe, Magic.
Dang, Kareem only had 6.
Kareem had 6.
I don't like the Kobe one. Bron, Curry, Jordan. I'm confident. The younger guys nowadays, because you win 2 and then somebody gets your other one because they don't want to give it to you anymore. I'm gonna go with those 5 because if I go back to Magic, that's a good one. But yeah, because him and Bird were dominating the league. So
Better get it in before somebody gets you.
I got my 5 out there, so I'm gonna lock it. I'm gonna get. There's my 5.
Okay.
Yeah.
There's your 5. Are you sticking with them?
I'm not confident about Kobe and Curry because I remember Kobe got some, but then I remember Nash ended up getting 2. I know Nash got one that was controversial, and it was like they didn't want to give it to Kobe. LBJ for sure has 3. Jordan for sure has 3 or more. I'm gonna have to go with it. It's wrong. I don't feel there's no other ones that I feel confident enough to put in and take out. So I'm gonna stick with these. Maybe there's no answer from Stu, so therefore I can just get away with a free one tonight.
All right, let's do it. All right, let's knock out some of the 2s. Some of the guys that are stuck at 2. The question was 3 or more. So we got Jokic, Giannis, Tim, Steve Nash, Karl Malone, Bob Pettit, and Steph Curry.
Okay.
Okay?
Yeah.
The guys at 3, Moses Malone.
Oh, okay.
Magic Johnson.
Moses Malone was super old in my day.
Magic Johnson and Larry Bird.
Oh, of course.
The guys at 4, LeBron James, Wilt Chamberlain. The guys at 5, Michael Jordan, Bill Russell. I didn't even get Bill Russell.
I know he won 11 championships, but dang. Okay.
And at 6, Kareem Abdul-Jabbar.
Yes, sir. Right. Too late, Stu.
Too late. You would have got it.
Is Wilt Chamberlain on that list somewhere?
Wilt Chamberlain, 4.
4, okay.
Yeah, 4 MVPs.
Yeah, see, I knew I didn't feel good about Curry and Kobe. I was trying to go recent, and I should have. That's why I said I don't feel good about those two because they like the voters nowadays like to have what they call it, apathy.
Yeah.
And then they won't vote a guy who deserves it and they'll give it to somebody else. So okay. Yeah, dang it. Well, no love lost there.
All right. Well, the score says as it is 5-2, 5-6. The hosts. We continue to move forward. All right, next up, we got two names. First up, who would you want as your kick returner? Hester, Hall, Sanders, Patterson, Jackson, or other?
Oh man, listen, I'm sorry. I mean, there's some guys on this list that are unreal, but there's only one for me, and that's number 23, Devin Hester.
Listen, man, sometimes you surprise me. You know, sometimes you surprise me. I knew I was gonna get you on this one. I knew you was gonna pick Prime.
Oh no, sir. No, sir.
I knew it.
Nah, Prime, because Prime to me, well, one, Prime technically wasn't a kick returner. He used to field punts, and he had that flair, and of course he had pick sixes, but when it comes to returning the kick, oh, it's Hester for me all day.
Nice.
By far.
Nice.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, see? You surprised me someday.
You was trying to set me up. Look at you.
I was I'll be scrolling for memes, and I saw one Sports Center I put, it was like, who you want to take the last shot? It was Curry, Kobe, or Jordan. I was like, is this good enough to make him even think about it? And then I saw you commented on it. Like, why are we even doing this?
I said, stop asking this question. It's Jordan. Stop asking this question. Yes. So you saw my comment.
I saw your comment. I was like, well, I guess I ain't going to use this one.
Yep. I sure did. I commented, please stop asking this question. It's Jordan.
Man. I thought I got you on this one.
Yep.
What I did. The correct answer is Devin Hester.
Devin Hester.
It's Devin Hester.
I'm with you.
Second one. Who you got in a 5-on-5 matchup? The 20s, the 25s, the 25s to 30s, or the 30 pluses? So picture for the 20 to 25s, you got Luka, you got Minnesota Jordan, Halliburton, Zion.
Zion wouldn't play because Mariah Mills would be tweeting.
I gave you that pause. And Wembanyama. The 25 to 30s, you got SGA, Tatum, Book, Giannis, and Jokic. And the 30 plus, you got Curry, Bron, KD, Kawhi, and Embiid. Embiid's over 30.
Yep. He spent the first 10 years of his career losing to people in the East.
I don't know. He got to be like 31 now.
Yeah, he's got to be. He's got or 30.
Yeah. I definitely didn't think he was older than Jokic.
Yeah. I'm going with the 30-plus squad here.
Okay.
I'm going with the 30-plus squad. It's a lot of good defense on that squad. It's a lot of scoring. It's just a complete game on that squad. Like, the weak link for me on that squad is low key is Embiid to me. But shoot, the light skin on 25 to 30 from the Celtics, I can't even support that crew. And then the youngins are just too young. Like, Yeah, no,
That's rude, bro. That's rude, bro. That's rude.
I had to. I couldn't help it. Hey, mama.
That's rude,
Kobe in
bro.
the building too. With the 30 plus, calling out the 30 plus. Yeah, I'm going with the 30 plus crew. Going to 30 plus crew.
The 2025's got holes in it. Halliburton's not there yet for me. Luka and Edwards are the most solidified guys on that list.
Zion can't stay out the strip club, and Wembanyama, I'm not a believer yet.
Yeah, so they
Yes, sir. That's hilarious.
I would let the 20 to 25s go. The 25 to 30 is a very solid team.
They're solid. That's
fair. A very solid team.
That's fair.
SGA and Curry. Here's the thing about the 30 plus crew. There's no two guard on here. It's Curry and a bunch of wings in the center.
Mm-hmm.
So really, the disadvantage here is Book. Because he's the only solid two guard on here. If you go with those two guys. So who's Book guarding? I like Booker. Got a nice all-around game, but you put him on the claw or you put him on Bron?
I don't know. It's a good question.
I don't know. You can say Jokic and Embiid kind of cancel each other out, but the thing that the 25 to 30 does have is Giannis. Who's guarding Giannis? You putting Kawhi on Giannis? And then you having Bron.
I'm going Bron on Giannis. I'm going Bron on Giannis. Bron on Giannis. Embiid on Joker.
6'6" versus 6'10" in his 20s. I don't know, man.
It's a mismatch right there, but I'm still not like it's definitely a mismatch here, but I'm not sold on Giannis being the dominant offensive force though.
Why not? We've seen it for
we can still pack the paint on Giannis. Still pack the paint and make him shoot jumpers.
I don't know, man.
Doink, doink, doink.
I don't know, brother.
Or he can just travel.
So the teammates play each other. KD and Booker play each other. That puts Tatum and Kawhi together.
And I guess SGA's guarding Curry.
SGA's got to guard Curry.
Yeah. That's a tough matchup defensively for Curry. But I still think the 30 plus will beat them. I'm
going to give it to the 30 plus, but it ain't a blowout.
Nah, it's not a blowout.
It ain't a blowout. All right. Let's see. Next step. We all got the alert when it drops. Texans trade for Stephon Diggs. That boy's going to the Texans. He's leaving the Bills. Heard he was disgruntled. Heard that he, wanted to get his touches. Saw the writing on the wall with Buffalo. They let most of their defense go. Poyer's gone. Tre'Davious White's gone. A lot of guys got cut from the Buffalo Bills this offseason to get under the cap. Did he see the writing on the wall? Did he ask for his trade? And that trade went to the Houston Texans, a breakout team last year who made it to the NFL playoffs, who beat the Browns in the first round. This is the same team this offseason that got Joe Mixon and Daniil Hunter on defense. This is a Houston Texans team that has the offensive player of the year, CJ Stroud, who plays in a division that's not very competitive. Break this down from the Houston Texans aspect. Are they contenders?
Oh, the Houston Texans are definitely contenders on paper. Definitely contenders on paper. This is a team that's now loaded on both sides of the ball with young talent. You add a guy who, at first I was like, woo, like playoff team contending for possibly a conference championship, considering the great coaching that they have, the pickup on defense. The defense was great last year. And you got to give CJ Stroud credit for what he did as a rookie, offensive rookie of the year. As the days have gone by, though, and I've kind of let this trade sink in, I love it, but I would be concerned about it if I'm the Texans. 2 stops on the Stephon Diggs train have both been situations where there's been friction.
Mm.
When you hear the stories, the friction in Minnesota, everybody was on his side. And it was people were happy he got out of Minnesota. They loved the trade for him.
Yeah.
Him and the organization didn't get along, but it was almost like he had the cachet and he had the support of the outside world looking in. However, that shifted in Buffalo, right?
Right.
So then the sideline gets a little rowdy, and we know the media likes to spin their way, their narratives. But then when you listen to people in press conferences, there was like this 1 foot in, 1 foot out of, we kind of want to talk about it, but we're not going to talk about it because we're going to keep it inside the locker room, but you kind of hinting to it. And so then you start to wonder, is it Diggs? And you couple that with the fact that in the playoffs, last few years, he's kind of disappeared. So I would be concerned. I would be extremely excited about it if I'm a Houston Texans fan, but I would have some concern if I'm a real player, if I'm a real fan, because you have a good nucleus of Tank Dell and Nico Collins. You add a nice piece of Joe Mixon, who we know can catch out the backfield, and he's going to probably get you somewhere between 850. He might be able to knock off 1,000 yards for you with a really good season, but he's definitely going to be more consistent with what you have back there. And then you bring in a Diggs guy who could tilt it towards extreme success, or he could be the same disgruntled Diggs guy who is upset because the young guys are getting the ball. And that's the concern I have. Does he cause more friction in Houston, and now we find out what the friction point really is, or does he find a way to be a veteran leader, but is he okay with Nico and Tank eating a lot? Because that duo last year was deadly until Tank Dell got hurt. So I'm concerned if I'm the Texans. If you're the Texans walking out of this situation, you got to feel like you're going to compete for an AFC championship next year. 100%. Why not? We got to see it work on the field, but on paper, your coaching staff and what you've added on both sides of the ball, you got a nice tight end as well. You did a good job of us already getting the guys on the line and protect your quarterback. You got to feel like you're going to compete for, especially an AFC South crown, and then you got to feel like you're going to make a run in the playoffs, considering you already made it into the second round, to the divisional round of the playoffs. So if I'm a Texans fan, for me, this reads, we got a shot to get to the big dance. But I would be concerned.
Here's some more details and see if that kind of skews or backs your point here. So they gave up a 2025 second round pick for Diggs and 2 day 3 picks. So 2024 6th round and a 5th round.
Yep.
And they also voided the last 3 years of his contract. So he's essentially playing for his next contract right now.
And they said they're not re-signing him.
They have him for 1 year. So that you have to give the best Diggs that you possibly can right now if you're him. Does that shift you one way or another? That he might probably be on his best behavior and give them maximum effort because his contract depends on it for the next team that picks him up?
No, it doesn't. It still makes me skeptical because you know how we always talk about, and I'm going to use this analogy, but we always talk about the NBA guys when the guy gets traded to a certain team, and it's like everybody's like, oh, my God, this is huge. But then sometimes we go, nah, it ain't going to work because this guy is who he is.
Yeah.
And he's not going to change the way he plays. So, like, Melo goes to, wherever, and it's like, everyone's like, oh, yeah, he's on this team now, and it's going to make them great. It's like, yeah, but he has to go stand in the corner now and catch it and shoot it. That's not Melo, right? The ball stops with Melo. So it's the same concern I have for Diggs. I'm not sure that Diggs is going to be a chameleon, and that's not how he's branded himself. He's branded himself as this type of dude, and when it comes to the sideline, he's vocal and he's passionate and he wants to win. They get the labels. I'm not sure he can taper that if the Texans on paper look great, but then they're struggling on the field and he's not getting the ball.
Gotcha.
So I'm concerned. So that doesn't sway me just because it's a contract year. That to me makes me feel like maybe he could go the other way if he's not getting the ball. It's a contract year and it's not going his way. Then does that friction come back out? We see his true colors.
All right. Kobe said Houston gonna be all right.
And they should.
Yeah, he give a big up for the coach.
Yep.
Stu says he's gonna hurt the young receivers by adding Diggs.
That's fair. I think that's fair.
I don't know about hurt. I mean, I gotta give the guy some kind of credit. I don't think he's just gonna go in that receiver room and just be a jerk on purpose.
Yeah, I agree. I think at first he'll go in and try to be peacemaker. Yeah,
I think he'll be able to help Collins and Dale see things that they haven't seen yet in the league, learn from a guy like that. And I actually do put more weight on the 1 year thing because guys just want to get paid at the end of the day. I think back to Diggs' first year with Buffalo, it was all roses. It wasn't too much of the complaining and the rumbling after the first year. So maybe he just needs to play 1 year contracts and be cool and then leave. But I do think his explosiveness, his route running definitely unlocks something with the Houston Texans. You already got a guy that can go over the top with Dale. Now you got a guy that can work the medium and short routes, that can take a slant 100 yards, with Diggs, a guy that can fire up an offense, hopefully an emotional leader on that offense. And in that division where you got Indianapolis who's struggling and you got the Jaguars, this is a division that they can take. This is a division they can win again. And they can ultimately challenge for that AFC Championship game. Don't be surprised if you see if you see Chiefs Texans in the AFC Championship game just off of this move if everything stay healthy, because they made a lot of moves on the defensive side as well. Mm-hmm. They're becoming a more complete roster.
Yeah. The one other caveat too that just one more thing as to why the 1 year playing for his contract storyline doesn't sway me is the NFL today pays anybody. So I think Diggs can have a 700, 800-yard season and he'll still make $45 million the following year. Someone's going to pay this guy off of what he's already done, which was, he has already put together back, 1,000-yard season. But I'm going to be honest with you, you're coming to a team where Nico had 1,000, and if Tank doesn't get hurt, he might have had 1,000. And I'm going to tell you right now, there's not enough footballs to go around for 3 1,000-yard receivers. Right. So somebody on this roster is going to have to take just a secondary position and give up some numbers. So if they can find that harmony, great. But the NFL pays everybody now. So, I feel like he can have a second-tier season, or low first-tier season and still get paid in the offseason. And maybe it won't be 18 mil, it'll be 15 mil
a year. Stu, no. I'm messing with you, man. I'm messing with you. No, like numbers wise. What's up, Will? Numbers wise, yeah, I think one of these guys is gonna take a hit. It's probably gonna be Collins. Somebody's gonna take a hit. And plus, you want to establish the run game that you didn't have last year. So all those throws that CJ was making now become carries to Joe Mixon. You don't want your second-year quarterback to throw the ball as much as he threw the ball the first time. Like, that's the things that they're supposed to evolve for as you make a better roster, as you maturate your quarterback. You don't want him to have to throw for 5,000 yards every year. just for you to be competitive in the game. So you paid Joe Mixon, let him run the ball.
Right.
You traded for Stephon Diggs, let him catch the ball.
Right.
Like, so you would hope that CJ doesn't take a step back. You would hope that the wide receiver room gets better with his presence, and you would hope that they would run the football because you just traded for Joe Mixon.
Right.
So let's see where this Texan thing go. All right, next up to hit the timeline. LeBron James Jr. first said he was entering the transfer portal and posted this picture here. He posted himself in a Duke jersey. Then he committed himself eligible for the NBA draft while still keeping his eligibility to return back to college. So, Joel, be LeBron James here. What should your son do? Where should he go? Should he stay in college or should he come to the league? Dalton Schultz.
Dalton Schultz, yeah. Yep. Former Cowboy.
He loves him some Dalton Schultz.
Yep. Who I think had over 600 last year. So he had a good season for a tight end. Yep. Bro, I want to be the guy that like has a hot take here and has some way to justify this making sense, but I can't. He should stay in college. I mean, he should stay in college. I'm gonna sound like the old guy. Get off my lawn here, but the NBA draft has been crap for a good 5 years in running. Yeah. And it's been that way because these guys are just going to college and then they're coming out and they're going to the NBA. And the reason why you didn't watch the NCAAs this year and the reason why the NBA is getting really bad and these guys don't even have like fundamentals anymore. Mm-hmm. And we watching guys carry and travel all the time and nobody defends. Like, it's because these guys don't develop. I've seen so many stories about online in regards to situations where people are talking about how AAU is bad for basketball. I mean, it's out of hand. Yeah. And so 100%, bro, he needs to stay in college. He does need to go to a team where he can develop. And maybe I don't know the story behind USC, but you got to understand, their coach just left. And the guy that recruited him just left. So that's reason for kids to jump in the portal. But to say he's ready for the NBA, hey, good for him that he declared, but he's holding his eligibility. That's sure, no problem. But there's nothing about this situation that I think, unless I'm missing something, and I don't know what the heck I'm talking about when it comes to basketball, what can he go do at the pre-draft, whatever, to say he's ready that we haven't seen? I don't know. Because maybe we didn't see it because he didn't get a chance to show it, but he played a lot this year. He came off the bench and played a lot. So it's not like we don't see it there, but it also could have been maybe the offense they were running. Maybe he just wasn't the main focus, whatever. Right. Go back to college and play another season and show that. But I'm sorry, y'all. I'm not excited about this. Oh, Bronny's coming to the league. I'm not excited about it at all. No. Please stay in school. Please.
Do you think there's a level of pressure for him to do I want to play with my dad because my dad might retire next year kind of thing?
No, I think that's media driven. I don't think LeBron would put that pressure on his son. And I don't think that's internally a thing that they would even, they seem like as parents that they want what's best for their son. And it's not going to be pending on that. And to be honest with you, LeBron probably could play another 3-4 years if he wanted to stay in the league long enough for his son to get there. But I don't think internally that's happening. That'd be horrible and a disservice to Bronny. But I think the media just loves the narrative, right? Like the media is so fickle about this. They love the narrative of this, right? But then at the same time, they're gonna kill him for coming out, and he's not ready to come out. Like, they're gonna say he's not ready. We haven't seen it, whatever. And then when you talk about pressure, if he does decide to forego his eligibility, and then he comes into the league and gets drafted by like the Hornets, I think you're doing him a disservice if LeBron leaves the Lakers and goes and plays with the Hornets, and then it's like, what the hell? Like, then it becomes just it's insurmountable. I'm just gonna be in the shadow of my dad. But I hope for his sake, none of those things happen, and he just goes back to college and develops.
Is there a scenario where you can come out of college and don't declare for the draft and just be a restricted or unrestricted free agent, and then you can sign with anybody?
No.
You will have to go through the draft process and nobody picks you, and then you will be a free agent.
Correct. And most likely you're going overseas.
I mean, just for his sake. Like, let's say he's not projected to go in the first round, then he's got to hope that nobody picks him in the second round, so he can become a free agent and then sign with the Lakers.
Essentially, yes, he could do it. So essentially, yes, he could do that. So he could declare and say, "I'm staying in, right, for the draft." Doesn't get drafted, and now he's considered professional. So yeah, he could get signed by a team at that point. I mean, boy, oh boy, would the media eat that up as nepotism at its best, right? Like, I don't know if I want to see LeBron and his son play together. And that's fat, Kobe. Nobody's going to sign him unless they think they can get LeBron. And that's horrible for Bronny. Like, to me, go back to college. This is a more exciting story if you go back to college and you have this great sophomore season that screams you just didn't get the ball and you weren't the focal point of USC. You have this great sophomore season, and now you're coming out because people believe you should be in the league, and then it's like, does he end up playing with his dad? That's more of a story. Like, this, to me, can get worse before it gets better.
Do the Lakers have a first-round pick this year?
I don't know. My guess would say they don't. Let's see. They do not.
They do not.
I don't see the Lakers. The Lakers don't pick until. The Lakers don't pick until the Lakers have one pick, and it's the 55th pick of the draft out of 58 positions.
I'm like, is there something accelerating this? I don't know. Is him and his dad plotting something? I think everybody's kind of saying the same thing. Well, it says Bronny should stay in college, needs to develop. We all can see that he needs to develop more in his game. He's an athletic kid, does well defensively, does great in transition. But does he know the sets? Does he know the game? Does he know the plays? Has he, I'm sure his dad have, throughout the years have taught him a great basketball mind, a great basketball IQ. But it's different when you actually play it. When you're in a tournament, when you're under that pressure, when you're going through those things. See, that's why I don't agree with you. And you'd be mad when I don't agree with you.
Ooh, 2 for 2.
Yeah, I'm just trying to think, is there a way for them to finagle this around to where Bronny gets to the Lakers? And I can't find that way. So you're telling me 55 picks, he has to sit there with nobody picking him so he can go to the Lakers. I don't see that happen.
I don't see it. Yep. And to me, and that just doesn't make sense because that doesn't guarantee he's going to – all that would be is for this kid to play with his dad. He could then fizzle out and never be on a team again in the league because they're not going to develop him.
Mm-hmm.
Because at that point, he's really going to be on his own to develop his own game.
Yep.
It just doesn't scream success for him as a young man. Like, go back to school, my guy. Go to Duke. Like, what was the posting yourself with a Duke uniform on for?
I don't know. Ain't that where that's where LeBron said he would have played at, right? If he would have went to college.
Yeah.
So yeah. I think there's more to the story. But I do hope he goes back to college.
There's no upside, Kobe. I mean, unfortunately, I can't see it. I can't find it. If y'all find it, let us know. I'm not buying it right now.
Come on, Bronny. Give me a reason to watch the men's tournament.
Thank you. Thank you.
Speaking of tournament.
Come on, y'all.
South Carolina has won another national championship and have did it in record fashion, going undefeated to defeat Iowa. The best player versus the best team turned out an 18.7 rating, more than any other basketball game, men or women's, in the last 5 years. This tournament as a whole was wonderful to watch. It was great to see these new breakout stars. It was great to learn these names and these faces and these programs. And it all culminated with Dawn Staley winning her third championship in South Carolina, putting her in rare air and doing it with a brand new starting five. How great was this tournament for you? And I think we all knew that South Carolina was going to be the ones who cut the nets down. But seeing South Carolina versus Caitlin Clark, how'd that all? Did that go the way you thought it was going to go?
Yeah, it did. It did. Excellent tournament. Like, overall, I mean, we've been talking about this for weeks now, and I watched this thing front to back. And it wasn't just, I didn't just watch the South Carolina games. Like, every one seed in this tournament during the Elite Eight, I think it was either Sweet 16. I think it was Sweet 16. All the one seeds had challenges. Like, this tournament is known in the past to be a chalk tournament. Typically, the top seeded teams usually win every game, and there's usually rarely an upset, kind of like there is that's made the men's tournament so epic in the past. But this year, the parity across the board was excellent. There was a star on teams that you've never heard of, and it wasn't that they were the best player on that team, but they were balling in the tournament for their team. I mean, you had the girl from Iowa State. I think she put up 40 in a game or something like that. Second round, it was just so many storylines. This was excellent. To this game specifically, we talked about this on Saturday, before this game was played. A lot of people wanted, Iowa thought they could win it. They beat them last year. This was kind of a revenge game for South Carolina. But what this came down to was South Carolina was just too much of a team. It was too much. South Carolina can hit you in so many ways. They get you on the inside. They can shoot the three ball. They can defend. Them girls defended their butts off. They rotate. You got Cardoso on the inside with the blocks. You got Fuali. You got, defending, their guards. You got two freshmen, Fuali and Tessa, shooting the ball. It just lights out. And they were able to contain Caitlin Clark. And I remember telling y'all, a lot of people were saying, oh, man, she's one-dimensional and she's this, she's that. Listen, I believe in the Elite Eight, or no, Sweet 16, 24 and 15. That 15 was assists.
Mm-hmm.
So the thing about her is that if she's scoring and dishing and her others were playing, they were a tough team. And in this game, look at her assist numbers. They were down. She had points, and they were battling first to second quarter. Those two quarters were just, I remember Kevin texted me and said, you watching this fight? I'm like, if you talk about the women's game, yes, because they were battling. Iowa came out on fire, and then South Carolina settled down. Then you look up at halftime, and you had to pickpocket she took her lunch money at the end of the first half, and then you come out third quarter, and South Carolina start to really kind of wear them down. And so this game was amazing. This was amazing. Term was amazing. Congratulations to the South Carolina Gamecocks. Just congratulations. I'm following all of y'all on Instagram now.
Yeah, same. What Kobe? Kobe said women's fireman was trash. Shout out to the Yukon Man Huskies. Stu said at one point it was 24.2.
Oh, man. Wow, was it? That's crazy.
Kobe said Juju's next. That whole freshman class is special.
Bro.
That freshman class, old girl from Notre Dame, old girl from Texas. That freshman class is nice.
Yeah.
Crazy. Yeah, the girl. Actually, I remember that game too. Like, remember the girl was trying to shoot. Kayla Clark was like,
"Oh yeah, Raven Johnson."
Yeah, let her shoot.
Yep, Raven Johnson. Big ups to Raven Johnson. Went out. She shut her down. Yeah, shooting 20-something% from 3-point line year. They wouldn't even check her. Come back this year shooting like 36% from 3-point line. Went out, worked on her game, and then locked up Clark. 30 points on 28 shots. That tell you right there everything you need to know.
Nice. And she still had 30. Caitlin Clark had a rough game, and she still had 30.
Yeah. Just not an impactful 30, right? Like I said, a lot of shots. And you, as the game went on, she started missing a lot of shots short. So it was almost like the legs were there, and then she started to just throw some stuff up at the end, trying to be, superhero. And that's not really her game.
This was a one-game turnover from the LSU game. She got beat up in the LSU game. Now she come to this game, get beat up too.
Got beat up in the UConn game.
Yeah.
Yep.
A lot of wear and tear being the number one person that everybody game plans for. You got them all the way. Needed a little more help. You couldn't get it. You just ran into a once-in-a-generation team with a Hall of Fame coach that's starting off red hot that can, if she keeps doing what she's doing, challenge some of the greatest, women coaches or coaches of all time and doing their thing. Coach Dawn Staley.
Listen to this. So listen to this roster. Like, Pawpaw comes back next year. Watkins, who had 20 rebounds in the semifinal, is only a sophomore. Tessa Johnson's only a freshman. Cardoso's leaving. Fulwiley is a freshman. Who else played big minutes? Sanaya Fagan's coming back as a senior. Chloe Kitts is only a sophomore. Bree Hall's only a junior. Raven Johnson's only a sophomore, by the way. Just letting y'all know. The only person leaving this team is Cardoso.
Yep. And we know Don can recruit. Yep.
Oh, God. Really?
I don't. You know what? I give Kobe the benefit of the doubt.
Yes.
Maybe he mistyped.
Yeah, it wasn't Stu, right?
It wasn't Stu, yes.
Stu actually wants to talk about Staley winning 3 titles, and he actually wants some substance here. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, when you talk about women's coaching, I mean, you think about Gino, and you think about what's Tennessee head coach lady who passed away. You think about her. Those are the pinnacles of coaching, if not women's coaching. Pat Summitt.
Thank you. I was about to say I can't remember her name either.
Yeah, those are the pinnacle of coaching right there. Pat Summitt has some generational teams with Candace Parker and Shamika Holtzclaw. And I mean, Gino just had banger after banger after banger after banger. So
and don't forget the coach out of Stanford. She's legendary. Yep.
So it all depends on how long Dawn wants to do it. Do we really see her on the bench for another 15 years? I don't really think so. She doesn't seem like a person that would do it that long to me, before. I don't think she'll go and take another opportunity. Like, let's say if the NBA comes knocking for like an assistant coach job or something like that. I don't think she's on that path. But I also don't think that she's on the Pat Summitt, Gino Auriemma 20, 30 years coaching path either. I don't think she's on that one. So I think Pat and Gino had to be in their 20s, 30s when they started coaching. Dawn's probably in her 40s as in her coaching career as she won her titles. So I don't think she puts another 20 on top of that. I don't see we see Dawn Staley coaching into her 60s.
I don't know. Yeah, maybe that's fair.
Yeah.
I don't know. We'll have to see it. I mean, how many? I mean, if you look at this roster, and then we got a good question from Derek too. But if you look at this roster, you look at how she recruits. What's her number, right? If you could over under it right now, if you don't think she's gonna be around a long time, that potentially means she may never get to 11. The record is 11, right? Gino's got 11.
Yeah.
She's got 3. How many more do you think she gets?
I mean, she just knocked
with
off
the way the game is being played right now and the way it's evolving.
True. I mean, but she just knocked off a generational player. You know what I'm saying? With her team. So how many of those are gonna come around?
Well, she believes she's got the next generational talent in Malaysia for Wiley. So
let's add some titles there. Can she get to 5? Can she get to 6? I think so. I think she get to now when you talk about 7, 8, 9, 10, I'm not sure. That depends on the length that she's willing to coach. Do you think she can continue to go undefeated and just knock off championship after championship after championship?
I think that's a lot to ask.
I think you got yours now. You know, you might get another one. Fuwali might get you another one her senior year, maybe her junior year. You know, but like you said, this freshman class with Hooker in Texas and with Juju and Booker in Texas and Juju in USC. You got is it Hidalgo? Was that her name?
Oh, Hidalgo at Notre Dame.
At Notre Dame. And they still got the same transfer portal that everybody else has. You never know. But I can definitely see Dawn, you know, in the next 10 years hit six or 7.
I think 3 or 4 in the next 10 years is possible.
Yeah, I think that's definitely possible. I think your girl Kim might back out soon.
I think so too.
They write papers about her.
Yeah, the Kim Mulkey era, like I'm wondering too, did they just hit a nice little stride in LSU?
I think so.
And so we got to see how the recruiting piece pans out for that group.
Unless Shaq's daughter goes there.
Yeah, and they missed last year's experience on this year's team. Last year's team was deep, and they play a little further into the bench. They missed this year. So, you know, and what it ends up, like we said a couple times, they were bullying teams, but then you can't bully the bully. Like South Carolina's the biggest bully on the block, and you can't bully the bully. So yeah. Derek says, so if a men's team was that loaded, what would be the narrative
for Dawn?
No, so take Dawn's team, right? Like if there was a men's team that was that loaded, what do you think would be the narrative that the media would try to spin about the men's team?
I don't know. What are we getting at here? That would just be a generational team, wouldn't it? I mean, there would be a UConn with Ray Allen. There would be like those teams that we covet. Yeah. I don't think a Christian Laettner Duke. Christian Laettner Grant Hill.
In the 90s, the Kentucky teams.
Yeah, they would just be heralded as an all-time great team.
Yep. That's exactly it. I think it would just be you'd have a reawakening of the teams of old that are known as the legendary college teams. And I'm gonna be honest with you, I watched that game a little bit last night. That Connecticut team's really good. That Connecticut team's really, really
they coach very well.
Yeah, they're very well coached, but they're really good. Like they got length, they got shooters, they got a big, but I don't know. It's just still something about them that it wasn't exciting to watch. Like it was to watch these girls do their thing. Right. But I don't know what that is. But yeah, right. I think the narrative would be like this is one of those teams. But here's the thing: they're not talking about that men's team like they talked about those Kentucky teams and like those Duke teams and those North Carolina teams. I mean, right. When the Blue Bloods were the Blue Bloods of men's college basketball, those teams typically had 4 or 5 guys. And they're not talking about this UConn team. You shouldn't have been ejected.
Yeah, I think this is just the 2024 South Carolina team that you put in a meme when you go put, in the meme that goes who would win, and you put in the UConn team that had Tarazi, you put in the Tennessee team that had Holesclaw, you put in, you know what I'm saying, you put in Tina Thompson's USC team, that it just goes into the list of all time great teams that you can play fantasy book with.
Yep. Definitely a meme team for sure. This team just loaded. I mean, loaded at the guard position. They play 9 players, and the athleticism of this team, the speed, the shooting, and to have freshmen come in and do their thing, 2 freshmen, you got a big, and then you got the full power forward type player that she don't care about scoring. She gonna grab you 15, 20 rebounds.
Mm-hmm.
This team can compete with many of the great teams of the past for sure.
Yep. And they ain't done.
And they're not done. Because
I appreciate thank you, women's tournament. Thank you so much for everything you did for us. Remember when this was a downtime?
Yep. No. Thank you very much.
Remember when this was a downtime from us?
Thank you to the ladies of
NCAA. I appreciate you. All right, let's GOAT talk here for a minute. Let's GOAT talk. Caitlin Clark came up short, so she has not won a national championship. They're calling her a generational player. They're calling her a player that has revolutionized and put more eyeballs on the game that it hasn't been in a while. But with all that said, is she the GOAT with her accolades alone? So I heard the Cheryl Miller stuff, so I tried to find a graphic with Cheryl Miller. I'm a Diana Taurasi kind of guy. So I found a graphic that has all her accolades. Now we got Caitlin Clark's accolades. What accolades do you need to define a GOAT? Or is it just the gameplay? Is it just that Caitlin Clark revolutionized the three-point shot? The dog's going crazy right
now. Yeah, so here's another get off my lawn moment, but hey, man, you got to win some rings. Didn't Diana win some rings too?
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
You gotta win some rings, man. Like you gotta win some rings. We might have to send the link for this discussion because listen. Caitlin Clark I ain't even gonna say might be, and I think this was the argument that I heard what's her name make, and I agree with her. Caitlin Clark is the most influential player. Like, this woman has elevated the game of basketball because she comes at a time when the game has done well, and I hate to make it sound this way, but this is the way we think in America, and this is how the media does it. Caitlin Clark is the first person, and I don't mean to discredit her, but she's the first player to do it like the guys do it. That's the thing that draws. I'm telling you. Here's the comparison. She shoots it like who? Steph Curry. She shoots the ball from deep, and that's what kids now and people who today's NBA is enamored by. What? Shooters shooting the ball from long range. Steph Curry has changed the way the game is played. 3-over-2, and here comes Caitlin Clark, and she's broken every record in scoring that there is to break. She's done it like the guys do it. And she's done it with a little trash talk. She's done it with a little ferocity, right? Like, she's done it with all these things, and she's the most influential player. But I'm sorry. I'm the guy I'm going to stand on my lawn and yell, she don't got no rings. So she can't be the GOAT. You can't GOAT talk her with no rings. She didn't win it. So, sorry, Derek, I have to disagree with you. No rings. Juju can be the greatest. Just to point out to your comment, Juju can be potentially the greatest. I ain't there yet with her either. You'd have to sell me on that one. Juju's game is nice, but I would love to see Juju in year 2, year 3, year 4. Like that's going to be fun to watch as she continues to grow in her game. But right now, Taurasi, Miller, those two, those are the ones that to me are, I guess, GOAT talk. Was Caitlin ever supposed to win a championship? Ever supposed to win a championship? I mean, I guess that would suggest that what Diana was because
she's been to the title game.
Yeah,
twice.
She's been there twice. So I guess, are you saying was she supposed to because a few years ago we didn't know who she was when she first arrived at Iowa? No. But the fact that she's done what she's done since she's been there, to me, makes her the most influential player to ever play the game because look what she's done. No, they didn't lose because of Caitlin Clark, but they didn't win because of Caitlin Clark either. They didn't win because of her either.
Yeah, great player versus a great team. Normally, the great team wins. Normally,
yes.
Iowa did a great job coming out of their bracket. They smacked Colorado. They played some, they went on a tear in the third quarter against LSU. They had some good games to get to where they're supposed to be. There was a questionable call against UConn. But she powered her team. She powered her team to another national championship appearance and just couldn't get it done. That's all. But to me, you definitely need a title to be considered in the GOAT talk to me. I mean, Breonna Stewart won 4 titles.
Breonna Stewart.
Diana Taurasi title, undefeated season, National Player of the Year. Cheryl Miller, 2-time champion. Like, there's some great female basketball players, but most influential player, I definitely give her that. I definitely give Caitlin Clark that in the influential because, look, we are here talking about it. And I never would have thought we would be doing that in a long time. And there's a lot of people talking about it.
Those are all-time teams, right? I agree with you. Those are all-time teams. But, see, there's a thing about GOATs, too, that I think you have to look at is those teams, those all-time teams, Diana Taurasi still stood out on that team, though. Miller still stood out on that all-time team. Like that. There's a level of, okay, you got a really good team that's an all-time team, right. But then there's this player on that team that is like there.
Right.
And Caitlin Clark's team is not an all-time team. Got it. But I'm not going to discredit that team either like many did. Like, oh, well, she don't have it. Listen, them girls on that team was balling. They're definitely making plays. The girl inside, the other couple of guards, you had a couple of shooters. But you can't. How does
her name is number 20?
I mean, how do you? My thing is, to me, how is she the GOAT? And they did it. She didn't win the championship. Yeah. And I can name some players: Kate Martin. What was the black girl's name? Hannah Stuelke out of Cedar Rapids, Iowa. Like I can name some players, but I mean, I think this is a great debate, and I'm glad we're having it because if Caitlin Clark's the best is the GOAT, what is Kelsey Plum? Is Kelsey Plum
who had the records?
Who had the records, right? Kelsey Plum, 2-time NCAA All-Region, 2-time AP All-Academic, Naismith Award winner, 4-time All-Pac-12, Pac-12 Rookie of the Year, AP Player of the Year, Wooden Award. I mean, also had the record for scoring. I mean, is she up there?
Yeah. So Derek is going, if your team is loaded and you're the best player on that team, even though you shouldn't be considered. or it devalues
your GOAT.
devalues your title, your hold on the GOAT talk.
Right. That's true. The casuals didn't know. Yeah, it sounds like that's the angle he's taking. Stu's pointing out she's not the first to do it. It's just the first time we're in the era of it's getting shoved down our throat. Do you think we're here because the women's game is getting shoved down our throat? Or did I feel like the women's game took everyone's attention?
Who said
like
that?
That's what Stu said. So she's not the first one to do it. It's just the era of shoving women down our throat.
No, I don't agree with that.
I feel like they grabbed hold of our attention.
Shocker, I don't agree. I don't agree. To be honest with you, Angel Reese caught my attention before anybody.
Right.
The LSU run that Angel Reese and Flau'jae Johnson and Mulkey all went on caught our attention first from last year.
Yep.
The You Can't See Me, all that stuff, Caitlin Clark, all that stuff. If you really want the media coverage of Angel Reese versus Caitlin Clark and all this other stuff, that got it turning first.
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
And then it went from that to Caitlin Clark's putting up all these ridiculous numbers. Let's just watch this while we keep an eye on LSU.
Yep.
And then, hey, while you're watching LSU, hey, South Carolina's pretty good too. Hey, who's this Juju girl? Hey, who's this Brink chick out in Stanford? Hey, who's the tournament time is coming? Everybody has a guy or a girl. Every team has a person, and they have a personality. It's like, okay, let's get into it. But I wasn't a fan that came into it going, let's watch Caitlin Clark because I want to watch women's basketball because they're making me. You can't make me watch nothing.
You actually were one of the last holdouts, like, because I was watching and you were kind of like, I don't know if I'm really gonna do that, and I was like, you gotta try it, and then you watched it, and then you were like, oh,
yep. So to me, the Angel Reese controversy brought me in first from last season. Kelsey Plum got a lot of points, no ring, no GOAT. Clayton Clark, a lot of points, no ring, no GOAT. Most influential. I'll definitely give her.
Yeah, definitely the most influential player, college player. Please develop a floater and a mid-range J, and you're going to be you might be the greatest WNBA player to ever play the game. But
they're already advertising Caitlin Clark versus Diana Taurasi.
Yes, they should. They should 100%.
If you're the W, you take this class that is coming right now, and you paint you should have the biggest marketing budget you ever had in the history of the W. Paint their faces, all everything. Big matchup, big game feel. Like the summer should be all about women's basketball. Should be summer hoops, women's basketball, because I'm gonna tell you what, the Eastern Conference playoffs is gonna be big trash, and I'm gonna be looking, and I'm not trying to look at none of that. So it should be the WNBA start in June. You should take June, July, and August. Take that whole time when NFL's in training camp, and I should be watching WNBA play.
Please. What's the GOAT criteria?
Okay. Great question.
All of these things plus championships.
You got to be player of the year multiple times, lead your team to multiple championships, be the player on that team to help your team win multiple championships. I think all the conference players and all the other stuff comes with it.
Right.
With just being the best player in the sport at that time. It's undeniable. Yeah. But what helps is also a championship. The culmination. I'm pretty sure Caitlin Clark will tell you the same thing. She will want a championship. Yeah. That's why she plays the game.
So to me, what hasn't changed to me is the GOAT argument has a championship component. Like, it hasn't. I think that's going to be the measurement, men or women's. That's the measurement. That's the measuring stick. Championships.
For
So
sure.
specifically college
Yeah.
championship.
If she won one of those two, she would have a great case.
If she wins one, she's the GOAT. That's literally the GOAT.
Okay. So you put most influential, you throw a championship on it, she got it.
Yep.
She the GOAT.
Okay. She has 0 rings. She's 0 for 2. It's my Jordan LeBron debate. He's 6 for 6 and LeBron's 4 for 10. Okay?
You got one. Like you said, he the GOAT. That's your criteria. Hey, you understand me? No, Derek, that was just the graphics that I pulled, man. That's just the graphics that I pulled.
Yeah,
I'm pretty sure. Yeah, it's Cheryl Miller,
Rebecca Lobo.
Yeah,
it's Brown Stewart.
It's a bunch of people.
There's a bunch. Now, if we take Caitlin Clark out of this debate and put up some numbers side by side of some of the great ones, this debate gets even better because then you're really arguing apples and apples at that point because all of these players outside of Caitlin Clark got multiple championships, multiple Naismith Awards, All-Americans, conference this, conference that, Final Four outstanding player. Like, yeah.
I think the most complete player is probably Cynthia Cooper. Cynthia Cooper and Cheryl Miller. You want to take it all the way back. Cynthia Cooper was a bad mother. Watch him.
Shut your mouth.
So it's different strokes for different folks. It's the same conversation that we have for the men's and the same conversation we can have for the women. Most influential right now. Iverson didn't win a title in the NBA, but he was damn sure influential. Ushered in a generation of superstars, brought in the hip hop culture into the NBA, did everything his way, made it to the NBA finals, but didn't win. You can call him a generational talent, a top 50 player of all time, but is he the GOAT? He ain't got a ring to his name to kind of put him in that conversation. But is he one of the most influential players of all time? Most definitely. There's different levels, different tags, different things you can put on different people.
To be continued. I love it. WNBA. Here she comes. I will watch every Taurasi Clark game.
Everyone.
Every Clark Enescu game.
Everyone.
And shoot, what is the Indiana Fever? They're getting they just got Aaliyah Boston and they're gonna probably get Caitlin Clark.
Yep.
Jeez.
Yep. So in WNBA draft is coming to us next week, I believe. Is it next week? Or is it May?
Yeah, it's the 14th or 15th.
Yep. Caitlin Clark, Indiana Fever, teaming up with Aaliyah Boston. You got a Hawkeye and a Gamecock together on the same team. Cameron Brink going. They said she should be going to LA. Rickea Jackson did see a lot of her in the tournament. Said she should be 3rd overall. Cardosa. You got Brink and Cardosa both going to LA. That's crazy. Aaliyah Edwards, the big from UConn. And then you also got Angel Reese, look like she's going to Minnesota. So I'm with you, Stu, man. They should put these women's faces on every poster and pay ESPN as much as they need to promote these games like they do every other NBA game for the money that the NBA play to make us watch the Minnesota Timberwolves versus the Charlotte Hornets that don't nobody want to watch. I better see a poster that says Indiana Fever versus the Minnesota Lynx, Caitlin Clark, Angel Reese, first matchup in the WNBA. I better know when that game's coming on.
100% agree. The money needs to be put behind, I looked up, bro, what is the going salary for the first round pick of the WNBA draft? It's like.
Let me guess. Okay. First round pick?
Number 1 pick in the draft.
Number 1 pick in the draft.
Base salary.
Base salary.
Yeah, first year. First year base salary. What do you think the number 1 pick in the draft makes? I want to get it, make sure I get it right too. So I'm going to look it back up again because I looked it up and I was appalled.
Base salary.
Base salary.
200,000.
200,000. So
Yeah.
200,000 a year?
Yeah.
No.
Higher?
Lower.
Ooh.
Much lower.
Lower?
Lower.
Derek said 60K.
Derek is too low.
Okay.
But he's close.
100K.
Too high.
Nah, bro. You tripping.
Listen, current contract for Aaliyah Boston. Aaliyah Boston signed a 3-year, $233,468 contract with the Indiana Fever, including an annual average salary of $77,823. She earns a base salary in 2024 of $75,792 while carrying a cap hit for the same amount of money.
And that's before taxes.
That's before taxes in Indiana. She's only making $77,000 a year, sir. That is deplorable. The NBA needs to do better. Put the money behind these women. Do you know the other thing I found out? Do you know that the women's NCAA tournament does not revenue share with the schools? So the NCAA tournament, all the people who make the tournament get a check. All the teams and the schools, they don't do that for the women. The money backing for these women is ridiculous. No wonder they want to chase the NIL bag. That's worse for them than it is for the guys chasing the NIL bag. Put the money behind, put the advertisement behind the WNBA and behind college basketball for these women so these women can make some real money. I am appalled by this.
Wow. Yeah, I knew there was a thing where, after the season, they go overseas and continue playing and stuff like that.
They ain't making no damn money.
That's why we got in the whole Brittany Griner situation. That she was going to Russia to play ball. I knew that the overseas money was better than the States money, but I didn't know it was like that. I didn't know it was like that at all.
Yep. So she'll go 74,305. She'll jump to 75,792. Then she'll jump to 83,371. So it says, aside from her earnings in the WNBA, her NIL deals have a huge impact on her earnings. She makes more money in advertisement. So these girls in commercials, good for you. Go get the bag because you ain't getting it from hooping.
Yeah, and then they don't fly first class. They don't fly private.
First class.
They fly commercial.
Yeah.
And then I heard another thing too, because I remember it was a story that one of the number one draft picks couldn't make a roster on the team. Like, it's not enough teams. It's not enough roster spots.
Right.
So the turnovers is a lot worse in the WNBA because there's only a handful of teams.
Yep.
So
good point, Eric. That's for 4 months worth of basketball. That's true.
Oh, because the season's not long.
The season's it's not a long season. So the men play what? Essentially October is preseason, so essentially November to June.
Yeah.
But a lot of teams are November to April, because if you don't make the playoffs, you're done in April. So that's 5 months. And if you're lucky enough to get to an NBA championship, that's 7 months. But if I just compare the two seasons, right? It's a 4-month season, yep. But that's still a drastic difference. These girls,
how many games do they play?
These girls aren't even making $1 million.
Hey, we in here. We got spam. I like
it. Let's see. How long is the WNBA?
Gotta be what?
Let's see. Number of games played: 36 games. It's increased since the initial 28-game schedule in the inaugural season. For most of the history, teams have played 34 games before the schedule was expanded to 36 games in 2022 and 40 games in 2023.
So 40 games.
40 games.
40 game season in 4 months. Okay.
So she's making, let's see, 75, 792 divided by 40. She's making 1,800 a game, 1,900 a game.
Before taxes.
Before taxes. like, I mean, when you say that part, it's like, what the heck?
Man. No wonder Angel Reese wanted to stay in college. She's making more money in college than she would going to the W. Ooh, I mean, listen, it's a give and take. I understand that. Like, we weren't watching WNBA games. They don't have a huge fan base. They're not selling out arenas.
Well, in certain cities they sell out. But yes,
yeah, right. Vegas, like those teams like that. Hell, in Detroit, we lost our team, the Tulsa. Even though we won, I think the Shock won multiple championships or were in the playoffs perennially.
Yep.
And we still end up losing our team.
Yep.
So, yeah, it doesn't have the support. So hopefully, Caitlin Clark is that lightning rod that she was in college, that she could be in the WNBA to create a change of financial surge, to put butts in seats, to help out the league. Like she can do that. I think Dawn Staley said that in her speech. I hope she does the same thing that she did here. She goes to the W and do it there. Put butts in seats, and illuminate these women that are playing hard and putting on great shows. And I hope this class and the class in the next 4 years, they just keep putting out stars, and that happens. So maybe we are at the beginning of the resurgence of the WNBA and women's basketball. And you can say it was ushered in by Caitlin Clark, which only adds to her resume.
Yeah. And now here's the other piece. I guess we're talking about this, and we'll talk about it more as time goes on here, and WNBA season is going to begin. But so there's the question about like how do they do revenue? So I looked up a couple things. So the NBA has a revenue sharing situation, right? In the WNBA, its team revenue is separate. So it's made up of like ticket sales, merchandise, food, beverage sales, local corporate sponsors, local broadcasting rights. Like that's how they do it.
Yeah.
So the players aren't getting a penny of the revenue share. And half of the WNBA is owned by the NBA. So half of the current 12 teams are owned by NBA owners, typically in the same city. And then there are others who are independently owned. Recently, I think the Warriors are just committed a record $50 million to secure a WNBA expansion team. So there needs to be probably a revenue overhaul, and there needs to be you got to get the media dollars behind them, right? You got to get the advertising dollars in there, and then these guys can start doing this thing. But the talent's going to be there, so I hope and pray that this thing just continues to blow up.
Yeah, me too. Me too.
I'm not sure about this comment about when you offer to change the game, the same players don't want lower rims or sexy uniforms. I don't know what we're. They better use Clark like USA. Steve Rogers. Okay, we're getting long because Stu's starting to stir. Stu's starting to stir.
All right. Well, any other news and notes, sir? I heard your son won a championship over the weekend.
Yeah, man. Big up to the Rising Stars, 14U. They won the 7-on-7 pylon tournament down in Knoxville, Tennessee.
Let's get it.
And JoJo had, what do you have? 3-4 touchdowns on the weekend, a couple picks, a bunch of catches. And in the semifinals, I think he caught 2 tutties in the semifinals and and then they were down in the finals and with a little bit left in the game, and he caught the pick, and they got the ball back and went down and scored to win the game on the final play. So it was an eventful weekend. Big ups to Rising Star 717 14U. I posted some of the pictures on my IG. And congrats to the University of Michigan men's hockey team going to the Frozen Four this weekend. Anything Michigan I represent for. So go blue all day, no matter what.
Alrighty then. All right. We appreciate y'all as always, man. That the show is not as interactive without you guys. So we appreciate y'all. Thank you so much. Make sure you like, comment, subscribe, everything Academy Source Sports Show. Make sure you subscribe to the YouTube channel. Make sure you trigger that bell. That way you get a notification every time we go live. And hey, man, copy that link. Send it out to your boys. Tell them, hey, this is your sports show's favorite sports show. Get up in here, talk your junk, because we are very, 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 very interactive. Yeah, I don't really have. I love Go Talk. Go Talk here is always a great thing. It's always a great thing. Now we know men or women. Everybody has their line. I am going away to training next week, so we'll see how that looks. I'm gonna take my laptop, so we'll keep you updated whether we do a show next week.
Oh, look! You know what? Maybe that's a good time to bring Derek in. He can host with.
There you go. So hopefully, the sports guys provide more headlines for us. Make sure you send us some stuff if you see it. Let us know. On behalf of myself, Andre Douglas, Joel Williams.
And yes, we did beat Sparty to get to the Frozen Four. We always love that. See y'all next week.
Talking hockey.
Stop shadow banning.